everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So my name is Alexis, and I will be continuing my dental school admissions guide. So this video will be about, all right, you've got an interview, now what's next? So before I even received an interview invite, I spent my summer in H&M, literally every day after work, or I'll wake up in the morning, even go before work, just to see what type of items they did have and how I can, style myself for my interviews. At first, I had an idea of just picking one outfit, but fashion is something I really like. So, and I kept going into H&M and finding new ideas. So in the end, I decided on two outfits, and then I had one other idea that was already in my closet. Just depending on what school it was, I just switched it up. And I will be showing you those outfits that I did pick. I took some pictures while I was going through my interview process, so I'll be showing you guys those ideas now. Personally, I am a pants person instead of a skirt. I feel like I'm the most comfortable in pants. However, if you are going to go with the skirt, make sure that skirt is at your knees and there is no high slit in it. You want it to be as professional as possible if you are going to wear a skirt. And then my other piece of advice would be your heels versus flats. At the end of the day, you want to be as comfortable as possible. If you like wearing heels and it doesn't bother you, by all means, wear the heels. Now, if you have a question about, ooh, I'm more someone who likes to wear flats, but I think I should wear heels, flats are a-okay as well. I've gotten acceptances by wearing flats. I want it to be, of course, comfortable, and you will be going on tour, so keep that in mind. If you're not someone who normally wears heels and you're going to wear heels during an interview, not something that I would recommend doing, especially if you're not comfortable in wearing them. And then also, you could wear flats throughout the interview and then switch into heels right before that actual interview does come up. Because the day is long, you want to be as comfortable as possible. But if you do want to show off your heels and it looks great with your look, then by all means, just change into your heels right before. Now for the guys, I'm sorry, I don't have that much advice for you, considering I am a girl. But I will put I guess I can give you guys some pictures too of what I would think would be appropriate for you guys to wear to an interview. When I was at the interview, I did see men wearing a full suit, which would be the jacket, a tie, a button up. The pants, make sure you have a belt on. If you do have a belt loop, that goes for the ladies as well. And then shoes. In my personal styling opinion, I believe if you are going to get some nice shoes for your interview, make sure you get the shoes with the laces. They look very classy and sleek. And if you can afford to get your suit tailored, men, I do recommend that you do so. You want to look your very best, and then you can always have that suit for another day. But if you can't afford to get your whole suit tailored, at the very least, try to get your pants tailored. It'll be really weird for you to walk into the interview super confident and your pants are touching the floor. Not that great. Okay, enough with the outfits. If you do have any questions, go ahead and comment, DM me. I'm happy to help. If you want some styling tips, or if you have ideas of outfits that you want to wear and you want to show off those looks to me, by all means, go ahead and do it. I will be more than happy to. I love styling, and especially business clothes and men. I love styling men. So if you guys also want to show me stuff, I am more than happy to help you out with that as well. Okay, let's get to what you guys been waiting for. So if you do receive an interview invite, what is the very first thing that you should do? Well, I would say that you need to go ahead and schedule your first mock interview. Now, one mock interview is enough. I would say do it at least a week before your first interview. Let me say that again. Schedule your mock interview at least a week before your first interview. You do not want to do it the day before, because you may come out of that mock interview with questions, or questions that still need answers to. And you're going to be very frazzled and nervous if you're trying to come up with those answers the day before your interview. So please give yourself some time from your mock interview until your actual interview. Okay, so what were those questions that I was talking about? So when I left my mock interview, or when I got to my mock interview, I thought I was prepared, But they started asking me questions where I was like, ooh, what would my answer be for that? I'm like, ooh, what would my answer be for that one? And so I left my mock interview with really great advice. I'm not going to lie. And then they also helped me work with my answers. So there was just like a couple of other things that I did want to go and work on. And I'm going to get into that right now. So one of the things that you should have learned from your mock interview would be number one, your 90-second intro. Now, this would be your response for if they were to ask you, tell me about yourself. Have this go-to 90-second interview, or have this go-to 90-second introduction about yourself. This is a really great place to spit it all out. And then from there, they may even take what you just said and pick at it or ask you new questions from it. Now, your 90-second intro is not supposed to be your personal statement regurgitated out in front of them. They've read your personal statement. This is more so like going through your life. It's really great to have this 90-second intro on hand, and I will share you my 90-second intro with you guys. I will be bleeping out some parts of it because I do not want to give you my whole life story. Do not want any stalkers. So here it is. So I'm originally from Bleep, Florida, where I briefly grew up with my mom's side of the family. Unfortunately, she passed away from cancer when I was 7 years old, and I moved to Blank to be with my dad, stepmom, and sister. I lived there through high school graduation, and then I moved to Blank to complete my undergraduate education at Blank. I was a university honors student there, and I was involved in dance, including a hip hop team and a dance minor. I also was a tutor and supplemental instruction leader for general chemistry too. In my senior year, I filled the requirements for honors in the major distinction by doing independent research that would ultimately give back to my position as a tutor in the Student Academic Resource Center. Upon graduation, I decided to further my science education by attending Blank University for Biomedical Sciences. During my time here, I continued to volunteer and increase my shadowing hours. Now I'm ready for my next journey of becoming a dentist. So you can see my 90-second intro was very short and to the point. It went through my life story, hit some major key points like how I was a tutor, how I got into, or not how I got into honors, but what I did at my university, which was honors, my little dance excerpt there, and then my research, and then what I learned from my master's, just that quickly. That's all you need to do in your 90-second intro. Now, the next thing that I would say that you should get out of your mock interview would be your strengths and weaknesses. When I got there, when they asked me this, I was like, whoa, I don't know. I don't know what my weakness would be. I don't know what my strength would be. But this is something that you should have on hand because it was actually a pretty popular question that they did ask me. When it comes to your weaknesses, make sure your weaknesses are a weakness. They do not want to see or hear you say, oh yeah, this is something that I'm not that great at, and then turn into a strength. You don't want your weakness to be a strength. They want your weakness to be a weakness because that's what they asked you for. And then your weaknesses should be different from your strengths, obviously. So I'll give you a little example of my strengths and weaknesses, and we'll go from there. So you should have at least 3 to 5 strengths and weaknesses to choose from. Here are some of mine. So under my strengths, I had 5 go-tos. That was timely, outgoing, empathetic, decisive, and a great multitasker. And then I had 3 weaknesses on hand that included impatient, critical on self or hard on self. And then I also have a hard time with saying no. Also be ready to explain some of your weaknesses or strengths, or at least give an example to them. So think about that as well. I think for my weakness of impatient, I said that I'm a very timely person, again, from my strength. And so I'm kind of impatient when other people are not on time as well. So yes, that's a weakness that's tied to a strength, but that's okay because I'm not making my weakness about my strength or turning it from a weakness to a strength. So that's just an idea. Now, the next thing that you should get out of your mock interview would be the answer to this question. So if an interviewer were to ask you, tell me about something that is not on your application, what are you going to say? My go-to was a personality trait. So at the end of the day, you should have written everything that you've done, activities wise, things that you are proud of in your personal statement, or somewhere in your application, like in the supporting information tab. Now, the one thing that you haven't written in your application at all would be a personality trait. So this was kind of my go-to when it came to this question. So if they were like, tell me something that's not on your application, I'd be like, well, I'm a very caring person because blah, 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 blah. And that right there, caring, would be a personality trait. So that was my type of go-to. And it seems like I got very good feedback from the interviewers when I did go that route. I can give you examples of other personality traits that I've said about myself. It was caring, honest, creative, dependable, passionate. Now, I wasn't sitting in there just talking about myself and I figured that out. No, I did ask some of my friends, my family, my colleagues, just anybody, how would you describe me? And I just picked my favorite ones, or the ones that I can really see like, oh yeah, I am that type of person, and what I can actually bring into and give an example. And that last question that you should have been able to answer after your mock interview would be their most famous question, which would be, do you have any questions for us? Do not leave your interview without asking them any questions. That's a big no. Please don't do that. Always have a question ready to ask them. Whether that be something that you've figured out or wondered while you're going through your school tour or through the introduction of the school, or if you just have a question about them and their personality, or why did they want to work at this school. So that's something that you can ask them as well. But at least have 3 to 5 questions ready for each interview if they were to ask you if you have any questions for us. Okay, so you may be wondering what I've been holding and what I've been reading from. So when I did get an interview, or even before I got an interview, I decided to make a holy grail of my interview process. So this book was my go-to from my mock interview, and then every single interview I went on, I had this book. Now, in this book, I have written down my 90-second intro, my strengths and weaknesses, my personality traits. Another thing that I did before my mock interview, I went on Student Doctor Network. There's a tab in there, I think it's under interviews or something like that, where they have like questions, or not interviews, it's via school, and then each school page, and then they may have some questions that were asked. So you can use that. I went in there, I picked some questions, and then on like each page, I wrote the question down. And whenever I had some free time, I went and I answered that question, just to like prepare myself for the different questions that I may receive while going through my interview process. And then not only did I do that, but when I went to each interview, I made sure I wrote detailed notes. Now, if I was thinking maybe if I get multiple acceptances, I can go back to this book, look at my detailed notes from each interview day, and then that way I'll be able to make my decision. And mostly because if you were to have multiple acceptances in the beginning of December, you only have 30 days or less than 30 days to put down that first deposit. And I don't have that much money to put down deposits everywhere, so I really wanted to just have something where I can make that number one school, or pick that number one school for me based off what I went through my interview process. Now, this journal I bought it either Walmart or Target, probably Target because of the aesthetic, but it wasn't that expensive. I think it was like less than $10. It has been very helpful for me, and I think it would be very helpful for other people, going through this process. And then also, it was a book where I can go back to during my interview day, where I can just peek through my pages to see, just to refresh my mind of my responses to questions, and then questions that I can come up with. And then I'll just look at that right before my interview, so it's fresh in my mind. And yeah, so I was just ready for that interview, pumped up, excited, etc. And then you can always put like, I think on my first page, I had a really nice quote that was very positive. So that's also something that you can throw in there as well. I really hope this video about what to do next after you received an interview was very helpful for you guys. If it was, please like, comment, subscribe to my page, and share this video if you think someone else that you may know may be able to gain helpful advice from this video. It was really nice talking to you guys, and I hope to speak with you guys soon in my next video.